Hello, Dad here. It is getting towards the end of August 2018. And one of the things I've been thinking about, I was on a hike the other day with a buddy of mine. We were at a place in California called Runyon Canyon. I'd never been there before. It was very busy. It was nice terrain. I enjoyed the terrain. And a lot of people, some people call it, a bunch of pretty people were there. But I was thinking about, this conversation with my friend about relationships. And in my culture, where I dwell, uh, especially my religious groupings, uh, families and relationships are really important. And I've noticed that a lot of people uh, like to to talk about, how to have conversations with people. And I am not the master of that, believe me. And but I was thinking, in dad fashion, how could I help my kids and other people uh, to get to know somebody? It's the old story. Boy meets girl, they fall in lust, they get married, then they learn to love each other. And along the way, there's a lot of bumps and I wouldn't say turmoil, but growth and development between the two of them. And then, if kids come along, it adds some more dimensional uh, factors into the relationship and into the structure. So I was thinking about, what are some possible conversation starters or things to help young people get to know each other? And of course, it's dad. So it's not just your typical, what are the relative merits of, Vivaldi versus 11th century liturgical music or things like that. So I wrote down several questions that I thought would be fun for people to discuss if you really want to get to know somebody. This is just 10, and they're, no particular order of importance. I just happen to think them, and so I wrote them down. And, and for all of them, after I read them, just automatically assume that at the end of each question, it concludes with answer yes or no, and then why. What's your reasoning or your logic behind your answer? And to again quote Dennis Prager, understanding is more important than agreement, and I'm a firm believer in that. I would rather get to know and understand somebody uh, than to just shun them because I disagreed with them. So anyway, in order to keep this fairly short, I'm going to have to read these because I don't have them memorized. Okay, let's see. Number 1. Do you feel that men and women have distinct roles to play in a relationship and in society? Okay. Yes or no, and why? In Western culture, modern Western culture, all people are considered equal under the law. Is equality the same as equivalency? Okay. Number 3. Cultures develop around the world in response to geography, religion, or the lack thereof, availability of food, cycles of weather, famine, boom and bust, available resources, and the types of resources, and frequency of wars and peace, the cycles of war and peace, etc., etc. Okay, the question is, or questions, there's two sub-questions. Are all cultures equally good? Second question. Do some cultures promote values of human dignity better than others? Or are all value systems equally valid? Why? Do you feel, this is question number 4, do you feel a person's gender is objective and static or subjective and fluid? Number 5, do you feel that people are born basically kind, good, and altruistic? Or do these traits need to be taught and reinforced? Number 6, in the process of raising children, do you think or feel that having male fathers and female mothers are an ideal worth pursuing? Yes or no, and why? Now consider that the traditional parental unit, which will come up for a later question. Overall, is a single parent or two mommies or two daddies just as beneficial to the physical, mental, and psychosexual development of a child? Such as in a traditional or versus a traditional parental unit. Number 7, peace, love, and happiness are wonderful things. Is violence ever necessary or warranted? Number 8, is war ever justifiable? And I'm not talking about, how unpleasant or horrendous the toll that wars take on people, and their mental well-being or things like that. But are wars ever necessary or justifiable? And that might be a good question to pursue later on for another video. Okay? Talking about, Nanking and saving Asia and Europe. Okay, typically, number 9, divorce is seen as harmful to the psyches of spouses and children. Is divorce ever justifiable? And finally, number 10, and this is a biggie for me. Okay, and I wouldn't say it's quite the deal breaker, but it's huge, and I imagine it's huge to a lot of people. When squeezing out a toothpaste tube, should it be squeezed from the middle and crushed out, or start at the bottom of the tube and work progressively up? Just some simple questions to start with. Happy conversation starters. Might be fun at a party or in a dating relationship. I'm just trying to do my part to help people find meaning in life. and to think. Really, there's fewer things sadder than people that don't think. Anyway, thanks for spending time with Dad. And once again, it's a little conversation on my little old phone with the antiquated technology. But hey, it gives me a chance to communicate with my family in a different venue and my friends. All right, take care. Thank you for spending time with Dad. Bye-bye.